All right, we should be up again, up and running again. All right, folks, sorry about that. We're just having a little issues with the internet over here. All right, so next we're trying. Let's see. We're doing the Manchichi Throwdown, the Imperial Mexican Lager. Awesome. All right, guys. What makes this an Imperial Mexican Lager? What makes it Imperial?
We went over a normal Mexican lager would be roughly around 4 to 5%. Us going 7 wasn't quite a double, but it's definitely imperialized. Meaning, the word imperial comes from when beer was brewed, sailed out into the ocean, had to have a preservative. It was spoiling at lower alcohol percentages. So something bigger lasted longer. They call it imperial, coming from imperial guard, essentially, or hierarchy. Um, this we did a double mash. This is a collaboration beer with Patty Longs and Kaiser Tiger in Chicago. So it's done with corn, uh, Hills Malt, Bravo hops. The 7th year that we made this beer.
So is that's what makes it Mexican Lager is the yeast?
Yes, and it's a whole comprised of the beer. But yes, essentially, I'm pretty sure that it's a Modelo yeast, and you don't ever see an imperial or a larger Mexican lager, so we kind of put that emphasis on that to bring that to the next level. We've also made this beer for years, anywhere from 3.8% to 5.5%. Now we're at 7 and above.
7 and above. That's a big beer for a lager. Hey, Kara, do you have it? Do you have a sample of this? Give it a try. There's something on there that I can't. This is our palate. I finger on it. This is delicious, though. This is. What's up? Yeah. I mean, my everyone's experience with a Mexican beer is that kind of has that skunky flavor to it. You know what I'm saying? This is crisp and clean. I mean, what's
I do get a little bit of sulfur.
Yeah.
So what she categorizes as floral, I categorize as like a fruity sulfur. Yeah. So the Modelo yeast is different. With the right bitterness, I think you get a nice little bitterness, but also more of a positive side. Like I wouldn't put that next to like an ale yeast and be like, oh, that's fruity. But I get that. I get what you mean. Like it's a sweetness. Right?
So it's.
We were talking about the identification and how we actually essentially perceive beers. Just the other day with one of the other guys who works in the brewery. He brought this chart that he had pulled off the internet. It was just really funny to see how we were identifying terms, versus mine years of, especially a guy who, doesn't have that many years, but's been drinking years, 30 more years than I am. So kind of see the difference to actually try to classify what it is that we're tasting.
Yeah, right on.
And sensing together.
Do you guys have a lot of this left? How much longer do you see this around? Are you guys gonna brew another batch of it, or?
This is a so this batch we introduced for them. We have another batch going in the tank, and we release it twice a year. It comes in, hits up big, and then we'll go ahead and fade out of it. You guys put the last of whatever. Jack was running around calling us on Monday saying, "Hey, I need more. We got more people signed up." And then we had a couple big weekends that all of this. We are going to go ahead and put this back into brew come late January, early February, and it'll go ahead and sit for that 45-ish days as a lager, and then it'll come out for something lined up to come out for those 2 points.
All right. So when you guys run a batch, how many cans or how many 6-packs approximately do you get, just for reference?
Well, and it all depends on COVID world, non-COVID world, because we split this up. In this batch, we split it up. We did 30 barrels, cans, and we did 15 barrels in kegs.
Okay.
And part of our partnership with kegs and partnership with Patty Long and Kaiser Tigers. The reason we did that is because they wanted to put this on draft at their facility, and that 15 barrels of the kegs went towards them, and then we distributed the cans out to distro and the staff. So coming into that, 15 barrels will do about 3,700 cans, which I think we're at 150 cans. You got to ballpark into those numbers, and go into that. This is their production, and then we'll go ahead and get it out.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. I don't want to rush people or anything like that, so let's.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, this is really clean for what it is. I'm very surprised. I like it. All right.
We've gone through. So just a little history on this beer. This is the seventh.
We've gone through here. This is the seventh
Year that this beer's been made.
sixth or seventh year that this beer's been made. Me through my formal brew, still been friends with Pat Burger. We brewed that at another place. So I'm not sure how many years exactly it is, to be honest, but we've done it a lot. And when I made the jump from my last position to where I'm at now, we all agreed that we wanted to brew this again.
All right. So, do you guys
Oh, sorry.
do you guys try to dial it in each batch, or you go strictly with the recipe, or? So do you change it from batch to batch, or do you just have a straight recipe to use and that's it?
So we've like adapted the recipe every time. Very similar in most part, but then we changed things and added more grain, less grain, more grain, made that awesome beer.
All right. So off the top of your head, do you remember what you changed from the last one to this one?
Yes, there was quite a few things. Before we had zest and lime, we used a ton more corn, and we also started the fermentation warm this time, rather than starting a lager at a colder temperature, which that really calls for. But we started the yeast colony to form fermentation in a warmer temperature first, and then dialed back to cold over 48 hours.
So you said corn. That's what I couldn't put my finger on, is the corn. What kind of corn do you guys use?
We use a flaked corn.
Awesome. All right, guys. Let's start working on the next one, which is one of my personal favorites here. It's Black is Beautiful. There's a backstory to this. I'll let them tell you what it is, and we'll get on into that one. Let me see. Black is Beautiful.
Yeah, let me get into the back history of the Black is Beautiful. If you can look at the label, Black is Beautiful is a brew started by Weathered Souls out of Texas. Texas, they decided to go ahead and distribute a base recipe of a stout recipe. An imperial stout into a can. For the reason being is it's a lot of beer for an 11%. So with Carson's background, we do a lot of Braga style beers.
Thank you.
And for this one, we did a Braga dark ale with molasses. I'm gonna let Carson talk more about the recipe, but the idea behind this is a more easy drinking beer. It's a very light body beer, but you kind of go ahead and take those notes of coffee and that. Let me go ahead and have Carson go ahead and explain more in the recipe of how this and his process of making a Braga style beer and truly what a Braga is.
So the Weathered Souls project was they sent out a guideline.
Hey, Craig. Let me see that can.
They basically had parameters that they wanted the beer to be designed on. And what I noticed with the collaboration is that a lot of people kind of ignored those parameters, which is a great thing in the creative world. They took that process on and created a lot of imperial stouts. For myself, I didn't like that. I wanted to go another route. So I wanted to keep essentially the same grain bill that they delivered. I remember it being the 2-row, a lot of roasted malts, roasted barley, black cotton malt. And I went through the process, and I really just basically outlined what they wanted on a grain bill. I took that grain bill, and then they had a ton of like different hop additions that I didn't necessarily agree with, but I think this thing was open just for all of us to make a really great beer for a really great cause. And I followed those guidelines. And then when it came to fermentation, I knew that I wanted to get some honey in there. I wanted to bracket it out, emphasize those malts, bring that sweetness, bring that dryness too from the fermentation. So basically, I pitched some wildflower honey, and we had some white molasses all into the fermentation. Fermented out great. 27 IBUs, Bravo hop once again. I think the malts just shine on this beer. A lot of people like the hazy. They like the as far as everything that we brew here. But I gotta say, this is one, as a brewer, this is one of the best beers I brewed here.
Yeah, just know, folks, this beer sounds sweet, but it isn't sweet. No one makes a braggot out there. When was the last time you seen someone make a braggot?
Viking Braggot in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that's why I like it so much. It's very unique. I put it on the shelf and it sells itself. It flies out of there. So it's awesome. To me, it's like a brown ale, nut brown ale, but a little not as bitter.
Do you get chocolate and milkshake on it too?
I get.
I almost feel like I never use an ounce of milk sugar or anything in this beer, but I really feel that it gets like a milky. I think we're just really carbonated well, and the malts emphasize that. Gives it almost like a little soft, subtle milkshake.
Yeah, it's like, to me, from my palate, it's like a malty, milky porter / brown ale. You know, so.
I think the honey added a good sweetness and dryness to the fermentation.
Yeah, it took the edge off the bitterness.
Let me ask this one question, and this is more for me to Carson too. Is black ale. Yes. How is this different from a black ale?
Black ales are bitter. They're it's almost a takeoff of when people say black IPA, they're setting a little bit more hot. The black patent, there's like 4 malts that are really dangerous, and black patent and smoked malt are 2 of those malts. And then a black ale, you run into that. So that's why those styles aren't prevalent. That's why you're not finding them every day in the store. They just exist as like a PJC guideline or a style, but they're not actually like a beer that everyone's drinking every day. It's a black. That'd be my answer to you. I'd be like, we got to take a black ale and convert it in 20 different ways, but still keep it black.
All right, so are you guys going to continue with the Black is Beautiful theme on this, or is it going to morph into something else? Or
I think right now, Josh, it's a great one-off. I also think that it was an awesome idea, and I think it's so great where America is today and what has transpired over the last half a year, 2020. American people standing up and knowing that equality and humanity is a huge thing. I think it's an open gate from that platform of making great beers. Beers for cause.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a cause. This is a reality, a fucking reality of America.
That us brewers got behind and stood behind.
That us brewers got behind and stood behind. And I feel very passionate about it. And there's a reason why we made it. Could be something else.
Do they have a list of or an idea of how many other breweries took this on and did it?
I'm sure if you go to the blackisbeautiful.com, there is a total number. I don't know whether it's told. I'm sure they.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot in Illinois.
We donated all the proceeds to this. I hope my block was our local donation.
We plan to keep this thing going.
All right, right on.
We plan to keep this thing
How
going.
did you guys choose what you donate there?
Great question. So, I think it was the forefront of our GM and a multitude of other people that were involved that kind of just said, hey, this is the best for the list that they gave. But I don't know that 100%, but I trust the people who had the discretion to give that away. Yeah. I mean, money's not easy in the COVID realm right now, but I trust the people that are behind it. So, and it's for an awesome cause. Don't have the definitive answer.
She knew the charity and local and she knew the background and the vicinity of where these funds were being dispersed within the city of Chicago. So, that was really pulled in there. So not 100% sure, but good possibility.
Yeah, I think it's.
All right, so this braggot, where does the original style come from?
Braggot is a cross between mead and beer. So your fermentables in a mead are 100% honey and beer. They're malted barley, mostly.
Yeah.
Gelatin-wise. So braggot culmination, it runs from 50-50 to 70-30 to really 90-10. You go anyway.
Turn the sound on. All right. All right, and how did this sell? Did this fly off the shelves for you guys? Yes. When I put it over there at Hy-Vee, gone.
It's been a great seller out of the pub. It's been a great seller on many shelves. It's a complex beer. Let's face it, people look at dark beers. There is like a hard percentage of people that look at dark beers and like, oh,
Turn them up.
That's dark.
Turn them up.
It's actually not the factor. The malts are just roasted a little darker. The beer still has the same viscosity, but been a little bit
For some,
for others, it's easy. As a steady mover, yeah, it's been great for us.
I think from the testing, and people come in, they're like, I'm really not a dark beer person. I just don't like dark beer. It's too heavy. It's too. And I said, all right, I'll challenge you to that. If you drink this one because it is lighter, and hence the 16-ounce can versus an imperial stout. This is more drinkable, as opposed to not getting that viscosity. And the thickness of it truly makes this beer a hot seller. Once people go ahead and break that barrier of I'm not a dark beer person, I challenge you to say, hey, this is the one.
All right, guys. Looks like we're going to go on to number 4. Sock Puppet Party. What is this, an American IPA?
This is a New England style IPA.
All right.
Visual effects.
All right, so Sock Puppet Party. Where'd you guys come up with the name?
Like many names, there's our brainchild Dane, is one of our owners, and we were having a conversation with a collaboration on Riverland Brewery, and one of the guys said, he goes, it's actually harder to go ahead and name the beer than it is actually to make new beers. So come up with a recipe. So especially in this world of making beers, he's got a lot of different ideas in the back of his head of where these names come from, and it's a lot of brainstorming sessions. It's a lot of market research. Going out there and sitting in a Benny's and saying, hey, Benny's is our Chicagoland, beverage depot. Sitting there and looking at all these, different labels and whatnot. And marketing is a very key aspect to
your ingredients from as far as hops and
North America, we have a multitude of purveyors, all the way from, some hops we use from New Zealand, some hops we use from Portland, some UK malts, some German malts. But we have a couple of purveyors. I use Yakima Chief, I use Hopsteiner, I use Country Malt Group, Canadian Malt Group.
I tried to ask several people that are on
Oh yeah, guys, you probably know all the packages. You're right. Don't think of it, but yeah, right. Ah, guess it. I like bids. Where we at? Yeah, where we at is these cardboard tin outs, guys, and pack tags. He's gonna create something cheaper than pack tags. Come on, guys.
Make it out of bamboo.
Package. Let's go. I need you.
All right, sock puppet party. So this one comes in at 7% ABV. And I just noticed a typo on my streamer. Anyways, so this one's got a little haze to it. Nice head. Oh my God, the nose on this is incredible. Here, let me see that can so I can show them.
Yeah, so I mean, when you open it, from a sales perspective, I call this like the Cadillac Series. I mean, this is one of those that just the floral effervescence that comes off of this is just astonishing. And you guys are drinking. End of October 22nd, I believe it is. So when you get this beer is literally less than 30 days old. So getting that freshness and that connection with us in commercial packaging really gets that thing. Once you get that beer and delivered to your door fresh, that is like the ultimate freshness right there. And that's taking that up your nose. Awesome.
Oh yeah, you notice the nose right away. It's kind of gets your mouth watering before you even taste it. It is very juicy, very hoppy,
very juicy,
kind of piney. And
if you look at that and you see all the difference. So we use 4 hops in this to go ahead and make that, and that's like the Cadillacs of hops in the Galaxy. And Carson was talking about the different hop sizes. These Galaxy hops came from Australia. So there's New Zealand, but these particular Galaxy hops is from your 2019 crops last year, and they dehydrate them and put in the pellet form and come through that to get the preserve them and get the maximum freshness.
have you guys wet hopped any beers yet?
Yeah, we did do a local harvest ale, hop backed with local harvest ale with hop backed local hops, Michigan Copper. Ran a full turn of brew, and then came back and hop backed in a mash tun.
Yeah, this beer is incredible. So I mean, here's a little secret, guys. I can't stand IPAs, but when they're fresh, oh my God, it's a different beer. It's a different beer. Even a week old, I can taste the difference. So I mean, but this is awesome.
You hear that, everybody? It's Jack's favorite.
Turn them all the way up. All right.
The original mash. So the original mash is oats, wheat. Oats, corn, white wheat, superior pills. Small amount of lactose in the beer.
So what do you use the lactose for? For taste or for?
It's all of it. It's body. It's fermented sugar. It's the flavor. I'm a little bit different. I don't use maltodextrose, which a lot of guys use to create an unfermented sugar body. To me, I'll take it drier and the way it is.
And from start to finish, how long does this run?
2 weeks. 2 weeks at its fastest.
Well, there you have it, guys. The Sock Puppet Party. This is definitely one of my more favorite IPAs. This is a good drink. Let's see. I want to run on to Drinking with Giants, but I don't want to be running through these so fast. What else can we talk about this sock puppet?
Why is it called sock puppet? Why is it called sock puppet?
Jack was out here and just enjoying his sock puppet and really missed it. So we're going to reiterate for Jack, but just the sock and of our beers and our labels. And to add to that is just the name in itself and our brand. We are Obscurity. Everything is outside the norm. We do everything that we can to go ahead and make this brewery exceptional, but it's got to be obscure. It's got to be dysfunctional. Not say dysfunctional, but just on the other side of reality, if you will. Like, take those names and that's how we really come up with it.
All right, let's finish up with the sock puppet party and start moving on to drinking with giants. Guys, you don't have to gulp and get these down fast. You can always go back to them.
You can't always go back to them. We're going to go ahead and start off with the latest conversation on this. And if you really think of this, and when you look at this, we've been talking about who comes up with these labels. This little guy right here, that's Dane. That's our artist right there. The name behind this beer comes up, Dane. And if you look at Dane compared to all our owners in Carson, these guys tower over Dane. And Dane feels like the little guy. He goes, these guys can crush beers. And here's little Dane, our artist, that kind of mingles in the crowd and shoots in and out. So you go ahead and look at this, and you see 2, 4, 5 people. You see all these people in here. This is Dane drinking with all the owners. Now, my question is which one of Justin's brother falls into this category? And go ahead and give you a prize if somebody can come out and figure out who that is. Where's your brother? Where's your brother?
Probably looks big. I don't know. He's too ugly to be in this picture. Even if it is just a shadow. It's a little monster on the right.
A little mongrel. But yeah, so that's a playfulness, and that's where we come in. It's just one person doing one thing. This is a collaboration of a group of great guys, big family. But this is the family that you really see. So the artistic ability comes into that, and this is the perspective.
Okay, this is an American IPA. What style?
Cheers.
West Coast.
This is a West Coast.
Get into why it's a West Coast.
What's the difference?
So West Coast IPA has a ton of bitterness in it, but utilizing bitterness and juice together are two different things. So what we did is we really went for the traditional West Coast IPA, very Sierra Nevada style, ton of bitterness, but some fruit and very bright and clean.
What other examples of West Coast IPAs are out there? What are the King of the Hills out there?
Oh man, it's been through so many years.
Like Pliny the Elder?
My favorite, Pliny the Elder, it's got some more juicy one. Like Sierra Nevada is bitter. Green Flash had juiciness but bitter. Stone IPA. I mean, there's so many out there. I'm really drawing a blank right now, but if you gave me like 30 minutes when I'm not on the spot, I'd tell you 100 IPAs. Those are my example. I always like to put it next to Sierra Nevada, because no matter what, if you go out to your neighbor's house, there's a Budweiser, there's a Sierra Nevada. You have that Sierra Nevada, and you're like, God damn, that's hoppy. Like, that's a hoppy beer, Lagunitas. Hoppy beer, but clean and bright. Still carries the hops, and that's basically what we were shooting for.
So drinking with giants. Let's get a little sniff on this one and give. You can already tell it's going to be different from the smell. The nose on this is incredible too, but you look at it and it's a lot cleaner. It looks a lot cleaner. Not as much head. Doesn't smell as juicy as the other one, but let's give it a taste. The IBUs hit me right in the mouth. You do me a favor, describe an IBU to these people and let them know.
International Bitterness Unit.
And that's what, from like 0 to 120, 0 to 140 or something?
International Bitterness Unit goes from like 0 to really recordable 100. Most of the time 80.
Yeah.
This one?
Could be around 80 IBUs.
Yeah, so it is a lot more bitter than the other one, or a lot bitter than the other one. The other one had that had a softened bitterness from the lactose, but and how does this one do in sales wise? What's on? Where's it rolling at?
This one, this is more of a newer release. So in my last 2 weeks out on the market, we've had reorders.
Yeah.
That's really where I gauge, how a beer does on the other side of the market. I go and meet with the reps, and this, how many times it turns over, and they come in there and say, hey, this thing's been turning over 3 cases in a week, or 2 cases in a week in, particular small facilities per retail store. So, get into other facilities where there's, 8, 9 different chain restaurants to measure that, and on average, they get 2 to 3 cases within a week is a phenomenal record for us and a good gauge. For us. So, yeah, but the artwork and everything comes into play with it. Having the orange really jumps out. So when you go out and look for your beer, see what you see. Go out to their things and go into there and say, hey, looking at a wall of beer, what really jumps out at you? And using those different colors. And orange is my going to go ahead and take on why the success on the label side of this. And then people coming in and grabbing it. And then we go ahead and gauge it on the other side is on our review. So if you go on to Untapped, Untapped is an app you can go ahead and go to the Play Store and download. And as you kind of can see this, you can see the reviews of everybody kind of pulling those Untapped reviews in and jump on that. Grab a beer, and even when you do this, and you're doing this now, jump on Untapped. It's different, but that's why they make 31 flavors, right?
Yeah, that's.
And you might have answered this. I just have one question. What makes it different? What's the
That's the Master Chef.
The International Bitterness Units. And it's basically it's called isomerization. It's what you get out of the hops. It's the bitterness out of the hops. Is what makes it bitter.
Yeah, so going on that Untapped thing, guys, definitely, if you go around drinking craft beers from other breweries and stuff like that, my favorite thing is when I grab something from a brewery and I'm like, hey, this is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I had this 2 years ago and I just don't remember. So I've also had it to the point where I've had something 2 years ago and I hated this, but now I like it. It just tells me how my taste has changed. But yeah, that's one of the top apps to use out there, folks. To just keep track of what you like, and what you can. It's a social media, so you can keep track of your friends and what they're drinking. And if you have a similar taste to some of your friends, you can kind of watch. Oh, you like that? Maybe I'll like it. So it's I've been using that Untapped for years. So, all right, guys, drinking with giants. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Rawson.
Yeah, it hides the alcohol. What is the alcohol on this one? 7.5, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't.
That's a warning label or something. I've been chucking it. The Uber home.
For you.
Hey, listen.
Hey.
I'm going to sit down now.
For the local economy. Uber. Lyft.
All right, guys. Well, that's number 5. Last but not least, Obscure Oath, which is a collaboration beer, if I'm not mistaken. And this one is, I can't keep this one in stock. This is the one that runs out first before everything else you guys got. Yeah.
It does, and to kind of go in and say a collaboration. The wonderful thing about the brewery industry is every brewery wants to help out the other. There is not competition. The brewery opens down the road, and it's not a direct competition. They knock on your door and say, "Hey, what can we do together to make everybody's world work?" And Obscure Oath is Solemn Oath. Solemn Oath is in Naperville. It is in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, so they're probably about 15 to 20 miles away from our facility. They've been in the market for
almost probably 8 years.
8 years. So they're 8 years established, and they came in and we did a collab. I do know the owners of Solemn Oath, some of the management and owners of Solemn Oath. Went to high school with the owners of Obscurity, so that's really the true connection of where these guys are all very good friends and intertwined in the brewing community. And as you can kind of go ahead and see the label and the label design, this is another Dane special, where if you look at the skull on the black and white, that is really representative of Solemn Oath's label design. But then when you peel it across to the side and you see the colors coming through and the obscurity coming out of the mouth, that's where you go ahead and get that artistic ability to go ahead and combine Solemn Oath and obscurity and mash them together all into one label. And I think Dane hit it on the head with this label. So when you see this thing on the shelf, it jumps out into your face. So from the label and the marketing perspective, that is, it's truly amazing. Artistic ability, and I'll let Carson kind of hit point on the Midwest Hazy and what makes it a Midwest Hazy. Take it away.
Midwest Hazy is a combination of West Coast and East Coast.
Taking parameters from both sides of the beer.
Here, so West Coast being bitter but fruity, East Coast being no bitterness at all. We're trying to pull both of those, and then West Coasts are typically a little brighter. East Coasts are a little bit more hazy. So we meet in the middle. We call it Midwest, and we just try to grab great parameters of both stylistic guidelines, and obviously attach them and make a Midwest Hazy IPA.
Cheers, folks. Smell the juice on it. It's not as juicy as the one before last. Oh, nice. See, that's the IBU I like. Yeah. Real quick.
Super hops. That's what I get on the outside.
Yeah. What?
Hops like crack.
So what keeps the IBU down low on this one then?
Isomerization, like not achieving that, like no bitterness additions, all dry hop. So we call that biotransformation. That's when the hop essentially ferments with the yeast.
Okay.
And the yeast kind of grabs a hold of that after it's eaten and falls down out of suspension.
All right, so like for this beer, for example, what would you consider this beer being fresh and then when it's past its drinking, the way 120 days? So after 120 days, you're like, oh, this is not being drank the way I wanted it to be drank. Yeah, awesome.
For all IPAs that way. I mean, to be honest, it's amazing what you get when you look and when your beer was either made or sold by. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know what? I just did one of these virtual tap houses for Mars Brewing, and there's at one point where Mars Brewing, I stopped buying their beer because the customers were complaining because they didn't date their cans. All right, so within the last 3 or 4 months, they started dating their cans, and I brought them back, and now people are happy as hell. So I mean.
So we don't actually have a printer because it's extremely expensive, but we put it on our 4-pack. like right out of the old school.
All right, so when you put it on the 4-pack, is that the date you canned it or the date that it's good till? All right,
We can.
because I got breweries that do either or. Yeah, yeah. So
Born on date is a real
yeah.
thing.
All right. And who started that trend? Bud, yeah,
It's Bud.
yeah. Bud or Coors. Yeah.
I think it's Bud.
And start to finish on this beer.
Oh, it's another one. The Solemn Oath Boys came. We put a collaboration together. Oats, white wheat, corn, once again for the hazy aspect. But the hops were Galaxy, Azaka, Sultana, and Sitka.
You said fermented was like what, 3 weeks?
We fermented with the Conan yeast, which is an East Coast yeast. Basically, that's an heady topper. It's the East Coast hazy yeast. Although it did flocculate more than I thought it would. Yeah, roughly probably 12 days primary fermentation with additions, biotrans, and then double dry hop. Yeah, roughly 15 days.
So here's a question for you. What exactly goes into a collaboration? What do you guys do? You guys sit down here and just talk to each other and say, "Hey, let's do this together," or you just kind of start throwing stuff into the pot?
Great question. Let's just call it throwing shit in the pot because it's like we come up with stuff and then we change it and we do this and that. Always a very free loaded, improvisational, but with technique guideline that we come up with. We pick a style and then we free float off that. Actually, super awesome. It's like playing music without playing music. We are coming up and changing and evolving even through the process. Awesome. It's what makes collaborations awesome. Not only that, we all learn from each other. You know, guys in the game for years, guys not in the game for the years. Learning, everyone's going to school on each other. Why you do this? And everyone will take that separation, hold it back, and say, or I could do this better, or maybe not so much. Maybe advance that person. I've advanced my peer. You're not going to say that out wholeheartedly, but if you're not a fucking artist and you're not creating and keeping going, right now, always go. Don't stand for everything, fall for nothing.
All right, guys. So that's Obscure Old. Thanks, guys, for putting this on. This was awesome, and we hope to do it again sometime. All right, guys. So that is it for the night. Drive safely if you have to go anywhere. Otherwise, you use Uber, and we'll see you next time, folks.